It is 3:30, so we're going to get started. I hope everyone is doing well today. The first thing that I wanted to mention, I had a great question from one of the teachers that emailed me this past week. And the question was, can anybody attend? Is there a limit to the number of teachers that can join? The answer is no. There's no limit. Yes, anyone can attend. So if you want to share with your colleagues the happenings of the Northwest Tennessee STEM Hub, please do. There is no limit to the number of participants that we can have until that is we run out of grant money, but we will spend it while we have it. So please, and even if we do run out of money, we can still offer the workshops and give you professional development opportunities and certificates, even if we run out of the money for the stipends, but I don't think that's going to happen. So please feel free to invite any colleague, any teacher that you know that would like to join us. You can share the emails. You can give them my email address or Leanne's email address and let us know, and we'll put them on our distribution list. So that
There you go.
Uh-oh, we've been allowed in.
there we go, so that everybody can join in and be a part of these workshops. I've got some things to share with you, so I'll go ahead and get started. On our agenda today, I have, please forgive me, I've got 100 slides or things up on my screen. Here we go. So the first thing that I really just want to talk about is I want to share with you our updated website. Are you guys seeing today's agenda on your screen? Can you verify that? Okay, great. So just wanted to be sure that I'm showing. I don't teach via Zoom very much anymore, and I just wanted to make sure I was sharing the right slide. So the first thing that we're going to do today is I just want to show you that we are working hard or to get today's. Sure, I'm sorry, I just said today. I'm trying to do two things at once. I've got people coming in. So the first thing I wanted to do is show you that we have worked on getting our webpage on the Dyersburg State Community College website updated. David Tate has been working on doing that. So I want to show you where you can find our regional events, information about the lending library, how to get a community to sign up as a community user if you aren't already, and how to find our social media links. After that, we're going to talk a little bit about standards, not much because you guys are the experts in that field. And then kind of in the same way that Miss Leanne shared last week, I'm going to share with you some resources that you could use. And I've got those broken down by kind of grade band for you. There's also a couple apps I wanted to show you that you can download and either use and mirror to your screen for your students, or if you have, if you guys are one-to-one in your classroom, you might be able to download those if you can get past the firewall in your school. And then we'll have a quick wrap up. So first, I'm going to share a different screen with you, and I'm going to show you our updated webpage. So this is our webpage on the Dyersburg State Community College website. Tells you a little bit about the Innovation Hub. There's a few things that I want to share with you on this screen. Our contact information has been updated. We had a couple questions about that over the summer. So if you know someone who wants to reach out to us, then they can just click that email us at stem.dd at stem@dscc.edu, and that email will go to me and to David Tate, I think. So you can get in direct contact with us if you have any questions. On regional events, Can you see the regional events screen, or do I need to reshare the upcoming schedule?
I can see it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So these are the workshops that have been shared with you via email a couple of weeks ago. So you see that today is 9:30. Next week we'll have teaching STEM using catapults with Mike French. And so you see here that there is a registration link. And these are through the 11th of November. And if I'm not mistaken, Leanne, can you make sure that I'm telling people right? We do have a math one that's in November as well. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And we'll get that put on that and updated on that page soon for you guys to see. So if you know someone who might be interested in finding out what our workshops are and you can't find the email that we sent to you earlier in September, then you can just direct them to this page and they can see all the upcoming workshops that we have. Also, back to the STEM Hub page. I'm going to Lending Library. And if you click on Access the Library, it will take you to this page. Hopefully it will pull up correctly. And if I'm not mistaken, yes, you go up to the top under the banner and you go over to where it says DSCC STEM Materials. And if you click the STEM Materials, it will pull up what we have in our lending library. And you see along the top that we have kind of highlights of these items that we have. So we have MakerBots, we have Lego Mindstorms, Connects, Hydro Cars, jigsaw puzzles, roller coaster information. And so here, this is one on the roller coaster. So not all of them have a picture on them, but it does say that it's available. And if you want it, you could just let us know. Roller coaster. Some of these actually have their description in them. Others do not. We're still working on getting that taken care of. David Tate is working on getting those for you. So you see that we have a toolkit. So if you need some tools to build something, we have lots of tools that can be checked out. All you need to do is make sure that you're a registered community user with the Learning Resource Center here at Dyersburg State Community College. And then we will work to get those checked out for you and delivered and picked up to any school. So just wanted to let you know about that. A lot of you guys are community users, but if you're not, all you have to do is go down here to the community member application, click on that, and then fill out this information to become a community user. Once we have that on file, we can make sure that you can check out anything that you want from our lending library and have that couriered to your school and then picked up as well. I do ask that if you want to have something delivered to your school, kind of plan for about 2 weeks out. That way we know that we've got plenty of time to get that checked out and delivered to where you need to go, because we are in a very large service area here in Northwest Tennessee. So those are just a couple of things that I wanted to show you on our page. We also do have our Facebook link here as well as our YouTube. I will tell you the last 2 workshops are not on there yet. They will be. I just haven't had a chance to get those uploaded to the YouTube channel, but they will be there. So that way, if you miss a workshop, you can, sorry, had to shut that off. If you miss a workshop, you can go back and see the recording there. So are there any questions about any of the things on the website that I just shared with you guys? You can ask out loud or send a chat. Okay. Well, I am going to put you on mute and answer this call. I'll be right back.
This would be a great time for us just to remind you that if you ever have any suggestions on some workshops that you would like to see or some information that we can provide for you, by all means, either put it in the chat or shoot us an email and let us know. We are always more than happy to hear what other people say. You know, we want to provide whatever it is that you need, and we can't do that if we don't know what you need. So be sure and let us know any way that we can help you. We love to share our lending library, but we also want to make sure that our workshops are things that will benefit you and that you feel like will help you become a better educator. So we're always open for those suggestions.
Thank you, Leanne. And I'm so sorry my phone rang. It hasn't rang all afternoon. And then, of course, as soon as I start a meeting, then I have someone call. So I'm going to jump right back into this. Today, what I plan to do is just share with you some resources that you can access for free. And then if you want to look through those resources, and if you would like for me to offer a workshop in a particular area of science for life science on some either activities you can do with your students or demonstrations that you can do for your students, then you just let me know. Like Leanne said, we are here to make sure that we give you the resources that you need. And if I don't know how to do something, we will find an expert who does know how to do something and share those resources with you. I do want to say that any resource that we share with you will always be free. You will never, ever be given a resource where you have to pay a membership to anything. That's one thing that the Battelle Education and the Tennessee STEM Innovation Network really wants us to make sure that we do, is that we're giving resources that can be immediately used in the classroom and that are no cost to you. So I think we all know that you've got your framework for your standards in K-12. And this is just, if you've ever looked through all of the standards, I know that you know your standards for your grade, but if you ever take all of the life science standards and you look at them by grade, starting from kindergarten all the way up through high school, you'll notice that they build on each other. So learning simple things like, if I was thinking earlier today about photosynthesis, it's a perfect time to be teaching it. It's a perfect time to learn about plants and what they do. There's so many different ways you could go. You could start with little kids and just have them do shadow pictures of leaves and then talk about leaf structure and talk about how do you know that it's a living thing and how do you know that it's a plant and not an animal. And then talk all the way up to high school where you're looking at just the individual cell and then just the individual chloroplast and what happens with photosynthesis. So every grade level starts to build on the other grade level. And when I was teaching high school, we would have our professional learning communities. I taught in a K-12 school. So sometimes our PLCs would be all the teachers who taught science. And we would look at what each grade level was teaching for a particular area of life science. And we would talk about ways that we could build on that. And then towards the end of the year, we would talk about, okay, if you finish those standards for life science in that area, look ahead to the next year if you have time left over at the end of the year, maybe after testing, and then see what you can start to pull in or introduce for the subsequent year coming up. And I always thought that those workshops, those professional learning committees were really good when you could get all your sciences together. And when you're in a small school, it's really good to be able to kind of think about how you can help each other, or how you can enhance your instruction in the classroom. Are there any teachers here who do that with their professional learning communities? Have you ever met just with maybe 1 month, just having all your teachers from maybe K through 12 meet if you're in a smaller school? Have y'all ever done that before? Okay. Well, if you haven't and you're from a smaller school, don't be afraid to ask your principal or principals if they would be willing to let you do that. Sometimes you get some great information and can share a lot of things that way when you're working across the board together. So again, today what I want to do is just share some resources that I have used. And even though I have these blocked out by grade level, you can modify any of these to be as simple or as complex as you want. And so there was one that kind of struck me when I was looking at it, that was on the first link here, which is Frugal Fun. And it was just doing the shadow drawing of a leaf. And so I was just going to pull that up and talk about how that can be implemented across the board for different grade levels. So if you'll give me a minute, I'll pull up that one. For you guys to see, hopefully if I can find it. This one. So the screen that you're seeing, does it say fall leaf art? Okay, great. Just wanted to be sure that you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. So this is just a really simple activity where you could take and get leaves from around your school, ask your students to bring in leaves, and then just have them do the shadow drawing with a crayon of a particular leaf. And so you could start out with little kids by talking about, how do you know this is a plant? And then you could talk about, well, how do you know that it's living? And then you can go all as simple as or as complex if you wanted. You could even have mid-high schoolers do this. And then you could talk about the different colors of the leaf and bring in the whole idea of leaf pigments. And if you don't have the materials to kind of pull out the pigments in the leaf doing a plant chromatography, you could just set up a marker and do chromatography with a marker and just some rubbing alcohol to pull out the different colors or the different pigments that are in that ink, and then talk about how there are different colors and pigments in the leaf. And you could even do that as a demonstration with your younger students to show them that there are different colors in leaves called accessory pigments. And then if you wanted to, you could talk about chlorophyll and talk about the other types of pigments that are in plants. You could look at the veins of this leaf, and if you had a class that maybe you had maybe a biology 2 class or just a biology class, you could even talk about how the leaf veins are where all of the water and all of the sugar run through. So there's lots of different things that you could do, from simple leaf drawings or leaf rubbings all the way up to looking at cell models and talking about the different types of cells and looking at cell organelles and how plant cells have chloroplasts and animal cells do not, and then looking at the structure of the chloroplast. There are unlimited ways that you could build off of just a little leaf drawing. And you would be surprised how many middle schoolers and high schoolers haven't done something as simple as that. Just do a leaf drawing. And then there's so many different videos or things that you could go into just to talk about the structure of leaves and how it's a living thing and how a plant cell is different from an animal cell and how plant cells have chloroplasts and how you go through photosynthesis and then pigments and the rate of photosynthesis and why the leaves change color in fall. So lots of cool things that you can do with that. And that was just one I wanted to kind of show you that I thought would be really easy to do. Again, unlimited ways that you could go through that.
Hold on, Merle. No, don't do that. No, don't do that. I'm gonna knee you every time you do it. No.
Make sure, if you don't mind, that you're
Come on,
that you are muted.
come on, let's go. Come on.
Okay. There are also some other great resources. TVA has STEM-ready resources for life science, not just in elementary, but in middle and high school as well. So for each page, I put a separate link for that. The same thing with PBS Learning. PBS Learning has different life science activities for different grade bands. And so you can search according to pre-K through K. So if you have really littles, you can look through their life science resources for that. They also have K2 and 3-5. On the next couple of slides, I'll show you that there's also life science resources on the PBS Learning Media for 6 through 8 and then 9 through 12 as well. Science Buddies is great. You can use that for any grade. Lots of good resources and activities there. Most of these resources that I'm showing you have STEM activities that you can incorporate into those short little videos that you can watch, prompts for thinking about how you could extend that further, as well as just more extension for going more in depth into a subject. Educating Zoo resources. This is for teachers in homeschool. This is mostly little curriculum. So looking at your elementary resources, they have some great resources on animals and adaptations and things like that. Education.com, they do have some good activities that you can look at by grade band in life sciences, but I do want you to know that with education.com, I think you're allowed 3 free activities per month. So if you go in there and you're looking for a particular activity, you can download the resources and the teacher guide and all of that, but be aware that you're only allowed 3 free activities per month, but they do have some good ones there. Superstar Science and Teaching Assessment for K-12. They have some really great resources, and this is an extension of the BioEd Online. I'd like to pull this one up and just show you for a second. So this one has resources for kindergarten all the way through 5th grade, and they're broken down by subject area. So here I'm just hovering over kinder, and you see that you can have resources for skills and tools, physical science, earth and space, and then life science. So you could go over to the life science, you could click living organisms, and you could see here is an activity based on, is it living or non-living? And then you can click into that. And they have some different types of media and different types of resources that you can use, that you can download, as well as supporting lessons, extensions, assessment, literature connections. So these have some really great resources that you can go through grade 5. And this is from the Baylor College of Medicine, Science Teaching and Assessment Resources. BioEd Online is the other one that I'm going to show you, and I can just click here. And this has things broken down by STEM, so you can look and hover over STEM, and they're by grade bands, so STEM activities for K2, 3, 5, 6, 8, or 9, 12. You can click on their lessons and you can go into, when you hover over lessons, you see that they're broken down by different collections or by topic. There are teacher guides for a lot of different things. And then focus on STEM. And you'll notice here that STEM is STEMM instead, and that is just science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine. These have unlimited number of resources that you can download. And it's not just life science. You can go into lots of different areas here and lots of different grade levels. You can click on videos just to see some of their video that they have listed for you. So one is on cells or animals. You can look at microorganisms. Then they also have prepared slides. So there are some slides for different types of resources or different content areas that you might be interested in. And then they have a full library of supplemental materials and storybooks and things that I think you might find are pretty good. Has anyone ever used BioEd before?
I haven't, but I'm looking forward to checking it out.
There's really a lot of different things on there, and you can go as simple or as complex as you want. Some really great things. Most of you guys are probably familiar with Crash Course. They also have not just Crash Course, but there's a YouTube channel for Crash Course for Kids with lots of videos in different areas for your littles that you might like to check out. And they're labeled by kind of like big chunks. So you've got engineering, you have earth science, life science, ecosystems, and flow of energy. So lots of different little videos. And you'll notice that these videos are fairly short, so which are perfect for small kids or really for any grade level. Short videos that are to the point that you can add in if you're talking about maybe looking at an animal and adaptations on the Educating website that we just looked at. You might be able to find a video here to complement one of those lessons or activities that you find. So this is Crash Course Kids. I will say, and I want to talk about this when we get to the apps, Crash Course has an app you can download, and you can search by subject area or by video. And then California Academy of Science, I love them, and I actually use some of their videos and activities, especially in Biology 1120 when we're talking about the evolution of animals, or they have some great information on the scientific method and how to solve problems using the scientific method. They have a great set of resources, and I'm going to show you. You can break them down by grade band. They also have on California Academy of Sciences, there is a link somewhere on here where you can go and they have like live cams of maybe different areas of their museum that you could see. So that's pretty cool. So here with this is for life sciences, and this one is for grades K through 1. And you see that there's lots of different things like what color is your leaf? And you can look at here, we'll pull this activity up. And basically all you need is pencils or crayons and something for the kids to write on and a piece of paper or a little data sheet. And they could go and look closely at patterns of leaves. You can look at shady versus sunny. And you'll notice if you do that, leaves are going to be different sizes based on where they are on the tree. If they're in an area where there's a lot of shade and near the bottom of the tree, the leaves will be a lot larger than they are on the top. And you could talk about why. You'll see that there is student handouts and lesson plans that go with these. It tells you what grade levels they're appropriate for. So this is the K through 1. And if you just hover over the grade, you can see that they're broken down by K1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9, 12. And then I actually use some of those resources in my classes as well. Love Academy of Sciences from California. They're pretty cool. Okay. So these are resources that are kind of broken down just for the elementary. Are there any questions or comments about any of these before we move on to the next grade band or grade level? Okay, I'm going to go to middle school now. So here are some things for middle school. Again, I just talked a little bit about TVA. They have STEM ready lessons per grade level. I don't think I showed that to you on the elementary, but I'll show you here for middle what that looks like so that you can see. It's a pretty easy site to navigate. And on this site, if you scroll down here, here are their middle school lessons. So there's a few here that would be for life science, aquatic biodiversity, benefits of pollinators, nutrient cycles. I'm going to click on the benefits of pollinators for you. And then it'll show you standards for Science Connection, the appropriate grade level. So this is for 7th grade. What you'll be doing, kind of like the idea, the practice, and then it kind of labels it out for you, what you'll do and how you'll do it. And it pulls out the science standards. So this is for 7th grade, science and math and ELA standards. And then down here are the activities and then the resources and materials for that. So everything is kind of laid out like a lesson plan would be for you. So that's kind of like a one-stop and shop for everything on that. There's also here, last week we talked about computer sciences. So here's a code.org game lab that you could incorporate for engineer or computer sciences as well. And then others, Khan Academy. Khan Academy, I also put in the things, the parentheses, free app. They have a free app that you can download and navigate on your phone. So you can break down Khan Academy by grade level for biology or life sciences. So if you kind of pull out what that looks like for middle school, you'll see here that for middle school biology, there's 10 different units that you can go through, from cells and organization, hands-on activities, growth and reproduction, matter and energy. So lots of great resources in Khan Academy. I love them. They're free. You don't even have to sign up or log in if you don't want to, but it kind of shows you all the different things. So each of these will have different things that students can do and finish in their in a unit. And then there are also questions and quizzes that they can take to see if they can master that course information or not. So Khan Academy, love them. There is a free app and it is for Android or Apple. And I tell my students that because with Khan Academy, you can use it for just about any subject and for middle school all the way up through college. And so it's a great way that I tell my students to study a particular area, maybe photosynthesis if they're having a hard time. And back when I was teaching high school, I have a degree, 2 degrees in biology, and I had taken my biology praxis exams. And then later on in my secondary teaching career, I was asked if I'd be willing to teach chemistry. I have a minor in chemistry, but it had been like 20 years since I'd called college chemistry. And so I'm like, yeah, let me prepare for the praxis. And I used Khan Academy because the thing that I had the most trouble with in chemistry was making sure that I knew electron configuration. So I would take Khan Academy and just brush up on the things that I felt like I was weakest in chemistry to get ready for my praxis. So it's a really good resource for a lot of different grade bands and a lot of different activities. And then I also here I put hands-on science activities from Khan Academy as well. Yes, Kim said Khan Academy is wonderful. It helped her through college. Well, I didn't have Khan Academy through college because I think I was in college way before that was made, but it did help me prepare for my chemistry praxis exam that I took. Just the things that I felt like I was weakest on. It's wonderful. And then I've turned my students to using it, especially in areas that they feel like that they're weakest in. Even my students that come to me for advising, if they're having trouble in a particular class, then I'll show them where they can find information for that particular class and that topic that they're having trouble on through Khan Academy. So it's great. Also, California Academy of Sciences 6 through 8, and then PBS Learning Media for Life Sciences 6 through 8. That's on there as well. These are all great sites that I've used. And I'm not trying to be, okay, so Sheena, you said STEM Unstrations. NASA also has great videos. Yes, they do. Thank you for sharing that. I will stick that in this PowerPoint before I send it out to you guys. They have lots of great resources as well. And does anyone else have a resource maybe from middle school that I haven't shared that you like, that you would like to share? Okay. So going on to high school, and it's not that I love high school more, but these are all resources that I've used not just for high school, but also in my introductory Biology 1 and Biology 2 classes. Lots of different things. So again, hands-on science activities from Khan Academy, and then Khan Academy for high school biology. This one's good, Genome Unlocking Life's Codes. This gets there's a small resource library there for looking at DNA and the human genome. It can get a little complicated, but those are pretty good. Some of you might be aware of the Amoeba Sisters. They have a YouTube page, a YouTube playlist, and that's listed there. An old one, but a good one, is by the Biology Project from the University of Arizona. This is a great one for students, especially if they just want to do some study on their own. It's interactive, so there are questions that students can answer. And if they answer incorrectly, it'll kind of be interactive and tell them why that answer is incorrect and help them try to learn more about it. We just looked at TVA for middle school, but TVA also has a link for high schoolers. The next one, Institute of Human Anatomy. I will say that if you're teaching anatomy, or maybe if you're a biology teacher and you're doing dissections and you want to say, well, if you're looking at this frog, this structure is analogous to that structure in a human. There's a lot of comparative anatomy in vertebrates. And the Institute of Human Anatomy is great. They're on all social media platforms, and this here is their YouTube link. But I will tell you that it's all human cadavers. So basically, they're showing you with real human cadavers what all of the structures are, or how they're, how they're important, or how a particular muscle works. It's great, but it is with real human cadavers. But it's a great way to show comparative anatomy if you're wanting to just look at one particular structure. That's a great one to use. Biology Corner. Probably a lot of you all have used this one. This one I'll pull up for just a second and show you some of the resources on it. This is also an oldie but a goodie, broken down by anatomy, cells, evolution, genetics, ecology, scientific methods. And then it can be broken down by maybe or not grade level, but subject level that you're teaching in the high school. These are really good, and a lot of these will come with handouts and teacher guides and resources as well. So I have used a few of these, and they're pretty good. And of course, one thing about them, if I go to maybe cells, like observing plant cells, comparing plant and animal cells. There's some coloring activities, some internet activities. There's a lot of different things here. And one thing that I will say is a lot of these you can convert the file and basically change what you need to in the file, or change what you want to in the activity to suit your lesson better. And since we're right here where it says microscope activities, if you wanted to have your students work with microscopes and you don't have them, let me know, because we do have microscopes that can be checked out for your students, as well as prepared slides. And we would love to have you check those out and use them. And then some other ones, HHMI, Howard Hughes Medical Institute, Biointeractive. These are great. I will say, I do want to show you this one real quick. And I'm sorry, I'm stopped sharing and then resharing. I just want to make sure you see the screen without me having to ask. So this is a great resource to use. It's called HHMI Biointeractive. I would highly recommend that you create an account. It's free. There's lots of teaching tools and classroom resources. They even offer professional development. Everything is 100% free. They have some great videos. Here I can search by levels. And so if I wanted to go to resource types, I could do, say, interactive media. And then if I wanted to do college or high school, we'll just do general high school. And then we can choose our topics. And so you can go over here and say, well, I want to look at maybe cell biology courses or cell biology information. And then you can click that. And the very first one on the top, anybody who teaches high school biology talks about the biomolecules in all living cells. And so you can click on this. Photosynthesis is a great one. I'll share that one with you. I actually have my college students do this occasionally. So here, what you can see is there's lots of resources over here on the side. There's animations, there's a transcript, there's a student worksheet. They also offer the student worksheet in Spanish. And if you sign in as an account, well, if you create an account and then sign in with your login information, you'll have other teaching resources to this. Like you'll get if you need the teacher guide and the answers and things like that to the handouts, then you can do that. Also, what's really good about their resources is that all of the student worksheets, like this student PDF, when you download these are editable. So a student can answer these directly on the PDF, save it, and then share that with you electronically. Love HHMI. It's a great resource. Then there's a few, not a whole lot, but a few resources on the National Science Foundation for their classroom resources. Flynn Scientific, not just biology, but physical science, chemistry, you name it. They've got lots of different activities for it. And most of the time, I will say that, of course, there are maybe materials that you might need to buy, but if you teach biology long enough or physical science long enough, you know that there are alternatives to particular types of reagents or things that you can use at home. So if you look at those, a lot of those can be easily modified without having to make like a big purchase. Life Science Interactive is great. California Academy of Sciences, and then of course PBS Learning Media for 9 through 12. Those are great. Are there any resources on here that you see in this list that any of you guys have used if you teach older grades? Even for middle school, you could take some of these and simplify them down just a little bit. Okay, and then the next list, great resources to use that can be modified for K through 12. So Project Wild, I got my first Project Wild book. I think the copyright was 96. I don't know if that's right or not, but it's a very old Project Wild. Lots of different activities in there that you can use. Clicking on that just to show you here for a second how it kind of works. So with Project Wild, here are all of the different pages, and this is from the copyright of 2017, so it's the most updated one. And there are lots of different things here that you can look at. Ants on a twig, animal charades, adaptation artistry. But when you click on one, and I'll click on, I've done bottleneck jeans in high school. So it'll explain to you what student pages you need, and those are here. So you can click on those student pages. There's a video you can click on that goes along with that resource. And then it also gives you like job profiles. So if you want to know a little bit about what a biological science tech does, you can watch this video, or conservation biologists or veterinarians, or even a zoo curator. So love these. These are great to use. You can make them as complicated or as simple as you want. Or maybe you just find that, hey, you know, that looks like a really good video on this job profile that I could show my students. So great resource to use. Yeah, there's a few on here that are saying that they've used Project Wild. So it's a great resource. Lots of cool things that you can do here. And along with that one, and another one that's great to use is Tennessee's Watchable Wildlife, or Tennessee the Wildlife Resources Agency. You can find the Watchable Wildlife on here. But if I click on TWRA and just show you that, it's really neat, and I can use this in lots of different ways. So if you want to teach your students about what kind of birds would we find in Tennessee, or mammals, or reptiles, or amphibians, fish, things like that, you can show them. There are some cams, like a live elk cam. There's some have different things for like citizen science projects on here. you can learn about wildlife diseases. But like if I click on mammals, just to show you, this will show you the different kinds of mammals you can expect to find in our state. So if you clicked on large mammals, you could learn that these are the large mammals that are found here. And we will click on bear since one has recently gone through our area and you don't usually see them here in West Tennessee. So then you can learn more about bears and different information, how to coexist with them, things that you should know. So there's lots of cool resources that you can find on TWRA. And then if you go to the Watchable Wildlife, which is the link above this one here, it takes you directly to each of those groups of animals or plants that you can show your students. And so I'll show you what that one looks like real quick. This is great for any person of any age. And so here is Watchable Wildlife, and you'll notice across the top, you've got your different groups. So I could click amphibians, and we could look at frogs and toads or salamanders. So these are all the different frogs and toads that you can find in Tennessee. And you could click on each one of them. The spring peeper is the one that we hear usually first in the spring. So it tells you all about that, some fun facts, and then links for more information. Also, on some of these, they'll have a link for you to listen to what they actually sound like, which is cool too. It's a great way to pull in our native biodiversity, and then you could talk about what is native and what is invasive, and why are invasive ones that we need to be more cautious about. Smithsonian Education Center has lots of great curriculum resources. Of course, Crash Course, free app, and then the iCell. iCell has a free app also, and it's pretty cool. And I'll show you what that looks like really quickly. So if you're learning about cells, and you could just put this on the screen, maybe you can use it online. So you can also use it on your phone. But maybe if you're wanting to show students the difference between an animal cell, a plant cell, or a bacterial cell, then you can click on this. And so here's the cool thing. You can just click and drag this plant cell around. So it's in 3D. And this is our plant cell. So if I'm like, okay, let's see what this is, and it's going to tell you that it's the Golgi body, and then basic, intermediate, and advanced information. So it kind of tells you more about that, and then you can click more. And so what I really like about this is that you can look at it from lots of different angles. This is a great way to tell students that when you're looking at cells, they're not flat two-dimensional objects, but they actually have shape to them. And then so you can see the cell wall on the outer part, and you can talk about the different cells in the cell wall. It's really cool. And I use this with my college students when we're looking at just the differences in cells and cell structure. So here's a bacterial cell. Well, I'll let you go through that, but it's a great one to show just that cells have three-dimensional shape and characteristics. And then last, I listed all of the different apps that I know about. Seek by iNaturalist is great. You can, if you have older kids that have cell phones, maybe this is a way that you could maybe just take them outside around your school grounds and have them practice with taking pictures of leaves or trees or insects that they see. And then Seek will help them to be able to identify those different structures or different living organisms. So it's really cool. It would be a good way to have students learn how to use the technology on their cell phone for an educational way and not just a disruptive way. Then I've got the crash course that I sell. Bill Nye has a free website, free app. Nova Elements. Now, this is like an interactive periodic table, but if you're teaching biology or any life science, sometimes you're talking about the elements that make up the compounds that make up the living cells. And then Food Webs, grades 3 through 6 is another good app. And these are all free. You don't have to have a subscription or pay any kind of fee for these apps. Any questions or comments or additions that anybody would like to share? Okay. Well, again, this is not like the be all end all, but it is a good kind of one stop and shop for resources. I'll send out the link to this presentation for you all so that you have those. If you have questions, let me know. I am going to go ahead and put the survey in the chat for you. Most of you all that are on here have been on here before. So you know that filling out the workshop survey is a way that we can stay accountable and continue to receive grant funding through Tennessee STEM Innovation Network. If you're interested in the stipend, you have to fill out the W-9. Again, I will send a follow-up email to all of our participants today. If you have already been in one of our workshops and you have already sent in a W-9, it doesn't matter if it was last year, the year before, or last week, you don't have to fill out another W-9. We just have to have one on file. All of those need to be sent in within 2 weeks of the workshop in order to receive your stipend. Are there any questions or follow-up ideas that anyone would like to share with us today? Okay, well, I will send out a follow-up email to everyone with the presentation link, as well as the link for the workshop survey and all of the other resources as well. Everybody will get a professional development certificate for 1 hour. Those are done differently now, so that you'll get those pretty quickly. If everybody doesn't mind, make sure that if you don't receive a workshop certificate by the end of this week, that you just email me and let me know. Those should be sent out pretty immediately. And again, the video for this workshop will also be placed on YouTube along with the last two as soon as I get 2 seconds to do that. Join in next week at 3:30, same Zoom link, and we will have Mike French from Northview Middle School, and he's going to be sharing how to use catapults and teach STEM. Any last questions or comments from anyone before we leave for today? Thank you all so much for coming. I appreciate it. I appreciate your support of our STEM Hub, and I hope to see you guys again in the future. Y'all have a great day.